Today we're in Melbourne, Australia, visiting florist and gardener Petrina Burrill, whose spring garden is a living reflection of her creativity and travels around the world. With thousands of tulips and ranunculus in bloom, wisteria draping in soft color, and blossoming trees framing every corner, Petrina's garden feels like a story unfolding room by room.
So this is my beautiful wisteria workshop and I love her. So I've called her Wendy. Everyone has a name in my garden.
Each space in her garden carries memories of her journeys, from cycling through the tulip fields in Holland to wandering through the Royal Botanic Gardens. It's a vibrant celebration of nature, beauty, and the joy of seeing one's hard work come to life. To watch the full episode ad-free and hear more about Petrina's journey as a gardener, scan the QR code on screen or click the join button below. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. I'm Allison Kenworthy, the founder of Homeworthy, and we take you inside the world's most beautifully decorated homes and introduce you to the brilliant people who live there.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Liz Lang. Welcome to Grey Gardens.
Click the join button below to access all of our latest episodes ad-free and watch extended cuts of this and other homes, opening the doors to new rooms and exclusive content featuring our beloved hosts.
I can't wait to see. I'm so excited.
And if you're looking to shop items inspired by this and other Homeworthy tastemakers, be sure to use the product links below or scan the QR code on screen to find fabulous furniture, coffee table books, and accessories that can transform your house into a home.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Petrina. Welcome to my garden in Melbourne, Australia. Come on in. Hi Homeworthy, I'm Petrina from Melbourne, Australia, and I'm a florist and a gardener. So what we're going to see today is my spring garden, which I absolutely love. So thousands of tulips and ranunculi and the wisteria, she's in bloom, and the blossom trees. And all my hard work is coming to fruition, so I can't wait to show you. So this is my front little nook. I have two little nooks in the front garden. And what you'll learn today is little tips and tricks for what you can do in a small space. So along here we have, it's like a party, more is more. That's kind of the way I designed. So here we have some peonies that they're just about to pop. That's an Aisho peony, her name's Hillary. And I put old tulips through here in and about the roses, which I love. And my little sweet peas, you'll see lots of sweet peas climbing up the roses. And that's really good if you don't have much space. So you can just kind of get them to host your sweet peas, the roses. I also grow them up the trees. Around here we have this beautiful old magnolia, and she's gorgeous. In summer she gives these most beautiful, generous white blooms. And then through this space here, every year I do something different. So this year I've got a whole little waft of tulips going down, this gorgeous little drift. And I put in these azaleas here, and they're called Abla because they're drought tolerant and it gets pretty warm down here in Melbourne, Australia. So they're fantastic. You just look after them for the first year and then they'll look after themselves. And I have my David Austin roses here. So I love David Austins. So that's a gorgeous Graham Thomas. And when Graham flowers, he's just forever giving. Beautiful double heads, big yellow, double cup blooms. And in here I have hiding, there's going to be a beautiful pink Cecilbrunner and my snowball bush, which I absolutely love because there'll be big white fluffy pom-poms soon. Here we have a flowering cherry. She's almost finished now, but I look out from my bedroom window and I just see these white fluffy clouds, which I absolutely love. Lots of wheelbarrows, don't fall over. Every time I see a wheelbarrow on the side of the road, I put it in the boot of my car. I think, aha, I'll fill you with flowers. So when I was little, I always wanted to be a florist. From the age of 6, I wrote in my diary, when I grew up, I want to be a florist. And so when I was 16 and you had to go off at school and do work experience, I knocked on the local florist's door and I said, can I please come and work with you? Anyway, 2 weeks later, it turned into a job, and that's how my floral career began. And then I just worked my way up, and then I got into some of the big flower houses. But I never wanted to work full-time as a florist because I never wanted to curse a flower. So I would always just do it casually on the weekends in between going to uni, and I studied comms and having a full-time job. So it was always just a hobby on the side. And then I've always gardened, and in COVID, everything closed down, but people needed flowers. So my friends were like, oh, can you make me up a bouquet? And my garden has always had thousands and thousands of bulbs in it. And I said, sure, no worries. So I made them up a bouquet. So then I flipped my Instagram account from private to public, and it kind of blew up. And that's when I realized, oh, okay, maybe planting 12,000 or 14,000 bulbs isn't normal. And I just continue creating my bouquets with homegrown flowers that I love. So I have lots of little trinkets and things around my gardens, and I love wind chimes. I love the elements, and wind is one of my favorite elements. And I hear them sleeping when I'm at night. I think they send my husband crazy, but I love them. And there are two, I just kind of collect them along the way, and they're out the back and out the side, but I just think that's part of being a gardener. You kind of bring the magic of the elements into your heart. Love that. So the space I love this notion of within a garden, there are rooms within rooms. So I have my wisteria room, and then I have my Japanese maple blossoms, and there's this little room here that I work in. And then if you go down to the lawn, I have my ranunculus space. So I love this notion of rooms in rooms. And I used to be a flight attendant and travel the world. So there's little reminders of all my holidays and everywhere I've been. So my tulips, of course, remind me of Holland and riding my bike through all the fields. And then I love the ranunculus, the Italian ranunculus, and my favorites, the big fluffy skirts. And then of course the roses out the front. I have a beautiful rose garden, which reminds me of Kew Gardens in the United Kingdom, and I absolutely love them. So I just try and, whatever evokes memory, I like to plant it. I like to plant and bring joy. So this next little section of my garden is called my rose garden, and I absolutely love her. So there are over 20 to 25 roses just in this tiny little pocket. Here I have a wall of beautiful David Austins, and they're pinks and peaches and whites. They're just about to pop. I can see one little face looking at me, and each year they've probably been in now for, I'd say, about 7 years. So they're quite, they're vigorous, they grow really well, they're disease resistant, and I absolutely love them. And then along the front fence, I have two climbing roses. One's called New Dawn, and she's going to be a beautiful pink, and she literally covers the entire front fence in roses. And next to her, we have Claire Austin. So David Austin made this rose for his daughter, Claire, and he spent $3 million perfecting her. So I think she's a lucky girl, and she's a beautiful white climbing rose. So she just fills the garden. She just comes into her own space. And when they're all out, it's just like a big rose party. I love it. So I think as a gardener, it's like life. There are constant challenges all the time, but I'm an organic gardener, so if I do try and get rid of aphids, I'll be spraying bicarb and using all these things like vinegar and eggshells to get rid of snails and things like that. But as a gardener, I kind of think like that's just life. Things will go wrong, and that's okay. And I always say, well, there's always next year. So some years, the powdery mildew will be really bad, and the ranunculus or the roses will get their black spot. But then, that's just the cycle. I think it usually comes at the end of the season as well, when they're tired. They've been working hard for months and months producing these beautiful flowers. And they're probably just saying, I need a rest. I don't blame them. So I just kind of think that's part of Mother Nature. And, she'll come back fresh and beautiful next year. So in my garden, there are lots of little, I call them Mother Nature's beautiful mistakes. So this gorgeous hollyhock, she is going to be massive, and she flew in from George's garden across the road, which I love. I don't know what color she is, and she just landed there. So if anyone falls, I just let them go. So I can't wait. There's 3 major shoots, so she's going to be huge. I can't wait to see who she is. Come out the back and I'll show you where my fairy tale is. So we're coming up the side of the house now into the wisteria room. Just watch out, because she's grown herself all the way around the house this year. So this is my beautiful wisteria workshop, and I love her. So I've called her Wendy. Everyone has a name in my garden. She's about 45 years old, and she shares the pergola with a Virginia creeper, and the two actually get on really well. So come summer, you can sit under here, and it can be fully raining and you just won't get wet. It's quite extraordinary because the coverage is really thick and lush and green. So she's beautiful in summer, and then come autumn, she's the most incredible, beautiful, fiery red. And I grow the Virginia creeper all the way down to the floor. So you literally walk into this room, and we eat a lot of meals under here. She's just beautiful. And of course, Wendy, this is her time now in spring. Absolutely love her. And this is where I create and make all my work under here as a florist. And I just cut from the garden, bring in the flowers, and I've got this beautiful old workbench here. It came from Vic Rhodes. She's absolutely gorgeous. From the 40s, they say. Hardwood. I should probably look after her more, but she does the trick. She's extremely heavy, so she just stays there, and I use her as a flower bench. So I put a lot of my flowers on the bench there. And yeah, work under there in the wisteria. And then I come into this space here, which I absolutely love. So when we first moved in, the deck was huge. It was massive, and I thought, oh, it's too big. So in response to that, I thought, well, I'll just fill it up with pots, basically. And that includes big wine barrels, and I would put in here my flowering cherry in a wine barrel, and they actually work quite well. So she's been in that barrel for 13 years now, and she's fine. So she's a beautiful flowering Mount Fuji, and she shares the space with this gorgeous one, who too is about 12 and a half years old. And it just goes to show that if you put a plant, if you put a tree in the right space, she has no competition, direct sunlight, she's loving herself. And she just, every year, she will grow at least 20, 25 centimeters a year. And her beautiful V shape, I think, just frames the garden really, really well. So my favorite time in the day in the garden would have to be early, when all the birds are waking up. So I hear the beautiful bird song, and I'll often come outside and I'll walk around and with my coffee, and it's just time before the kids wake up, time before all the madness starts. And I'll just have a stroll and a wander through the garden, and it's just beautiful. It's just myself and the flowers and the birds, and you can feel the change in the temperature, and you can feel the day just starting to begin. It's really beautiful. So one of my favorite tips is planting in crates. So my dad used to do this when I was a little girl. And the whole point of it is, if you have a space that you want to fill up with flowers, for example, my deck, basically they're just crates. They'd be about 20 centimeters deep and maybe about 50 centimeters wide. And I fill a third of the bottom with leaf litter from the trees, and then potting mix, premium potting mix. And then I put about 40 tulips in each crate and a bit of soil on top, and then I grow them in the sunshine. And then you just get this whole crate of joy, basically. And they're great because you can move them around. So if you have like a hole in the garden, you can just pick them up, and they're portable garden beds. So they're really versatile. I can't recommend them highly enough. And when I finish with the tulips, basically then I can put in the summer flowers. Like last year I had zinnias. This year I'll do it again. Zinnias and all these happy larkspurs and beautiful flowy flowers for summer. So coming down here, we have what was originally my dad's veggie patch. So Dad built this for me 10 years ago, and we had a good laugh because it did have veggies in it for 1 year. And of course I converted it to the flower bed. But my kids love this patch. So each year they just plant whatever they love. And it's every year it's a surprise, which I love. It gets full sun. And this year we've got some foxies, so they'll be quite high. They've put in some larkspurs, ranunculuses, daffodils, poppies. Basically, it's just a colourful feast, which I love. And then behind, I've just got some peonies growing in pots, and they've been in there for 5 years, and they produce flowers. So they say the first year they sleep, the second year they leap, and the third year they creep. So hopefully we'll get more this year. Last year I got about 10. I was like, woohoo! Over here we have my ranunculus lawn, which I absolutely love. So I always find a garden changes with your needs. So as you change, your needs change, so does your garden. So when the kids were little, this was one big lawn that they could play on. But then they started to use the garden. They were reading in the garden more, playing their music in the garden. So I started taking up the garden beds. And basically I just turned them into flower beds, which I love because the pollinators, it's full of bees come springtime. And I also in summer let the grass grow really long for the bees, and they love it. Everyone's welcome in my garden. So this tree here, she was in a wine barrel, and then I just let her go, and I call her my ice vovo because the rootstock has just grown out, and I love that. I just let her go, and she's this beautiful white blossom. I also use her in a lot of bouquets. I really like her as a base. And then at the top I have this beautiful pink flowering Kenzan, and so it's two-toned, and then underneath I put in my pink ranunculus. So I call her my ice vovo, which is a biscuit that we absolutely love here in Australia. And then around here, this cute little section, this one here, I've got a flowering quince, and she's great. She produces fruit, so we make quince jam from her. And there's another snowball tree. And these gorgeous euphorbias, they're fantastic if you want to fill a space. Like they're all self-sown, they fell there, I let them grow. and they're drought tolerant, they're tough as boots, and they just give that beautiful texture to your garden. I love them. Azaleas down here, double tulips, and of course one of my favorites, forget-me-not. I absolutely love her. So I grow her for her name and her beautiful color. And usually she sticks on your top so you can wear her when you want to. And then around here we have another gorgeous Fuji, and she too will get quite tall. I don't know that I'm too happy where I planted her, so I'm always learning as a gardener. You know, nothing's ever perfect. She kind of gets lost a bit behind in the wall, the white potato vine and the jasmine, so you don't really get to see her. So I think I might move her into the ranunculus patch after she's finished blossoming. We have a move around, and I think I'll move her there, then we can. This is a cute little bird bath hanging from my tree. Yeah, everyone's name. So this is Lady Diana, because she is absolutely stunning. She's a Shirateo, double blossom, pink. Oh, look at her. She's just about to wake up, and she's just this gorgeous big blousy pink show. And then under here, I got this cute little bird bath from a flea market. It's so cute. And the birdies come visit. I need to fill it up actually. It's also good for the bees. It's really important to keep water out on those hot days, especially for the bees. So I'll put some twigs in there so they've got somewhere to land, and then they can come and have a drink when they want to. And underneath the canopy, it's just ranunculus and tulips under here. And when they finish flowering, then I'll turn them over as well for the summer crops coming in. Zinnias will be here. I love to put zinnias, so they'll be so high and it'll be a feast of summer flowers. So I love, as I mentioned, flowering wheelbarrows, but this one is extra special for me because it belonged to my pa, so Mum's mum. And he was the Shire gardeners where he grew up in Mathara in New South Wales. And I remember being a little girl and I'd go to work with him and he would show me the roses. So we'd go on a rose tour. And whenever we'd go back to his house, it was always full of different flowers. So I just love this idea that that's his wheelbarrow now, and it lives on in my garden, and it's always full of flowers. And for me, that's my pa watching over me. I would have to say my favorite room would be the wisteria room, because she's so beautiful at this time of the year. And each cane I meticulously pull her through and wire her up like an art installation. So I like to think that she's the boss and I have to move around her when I go through the garden. And I just love this idea that, you know, you can create and work in a room of wisteria. And my workshop's there, so I make all my flowers underneath her. So up here we have a native garden. And the reason I grow natives is because it's underneath these huge 30-foot gum trees. And the gum trees, they're quite competitive. They take all their energy. So one year I did plant 5,000 ranunculus on this little hill and it looked amazing, but it was a one-hit wonder. So I'm working with the environment. So all these beautiful natives, they share the space with some salvias. So these guys are drought tolerant as well. And what I've noticed is the birdies love it. So I'm making little homes and places for the birds to come and eat and play in. And I love that. And behind these beautiful gums, I have another compost heap as well. And through here we have kangaroo paws, grevilleas, grasses, and I've planted out, which will be interesting to see, lots of globe thistles. So there's about 200 on the hill, and they'll come up tall with a stick and they have these beautiful purple sphere balls. So that will add some height throughout my little native garden. This is Lavender. So Lavi is my head gardener. She's part of the furniture. Come on, Lavi. She's so cheeky. Whenever I run floral bouquet workshops, she will be right in there with everybody, or garden tours, or Lavender, learning to garden. Lavender is right there in front of the camera. Yeah, she's so cute, Chungus. She has a sister running around too, but she's really shy, so we probably won't see little buttons. So I love paths in a garden because they show you where to go. Down here, this is my little gravel path. I get all the stones in little bags, I bring them in myself, and I get out the rake, scrape them in. I'm forever working on this path, but she leads to here. So that makes me happy underneath the blossom, and I'll often come out here and have my cup of tea. Just me and the flowers. And then over here, we have beautiful wall of roses, and they're just about to bloom under the jacarandas. So come summertime, this is a really special place. We have the lime green and the gorgeous Gladitsia sunburst tree and these purple jacarandas. For in Australia, that means Christmas is coming. So thank you for coming on a garden tour with me, and now I would love to make you a bouquet. So come through to my wisteria workshop. So I'm just going to make a beautiful garden style bouquet, which I absolutely love. And I like to see my flower bouquets. It's just like you go and you would pick a whole lot of garden flowers and put them together. So I started with a little bed of sweet pea. And I always say, some people would like you call it your base really. And I just have a little base here of sweet pea, nice and flowy. All that movement through there. Oh, lavender. She's always with me, this cat. She's my little shadow. Okay, and then there's some beautiful little snapdragons. And I'll just make a little love heart. If you kind of keep your shape, this will be a little love heart garden bouquet. I love their colors. Tiny little bit of tinge, pinky mauve through the edge. 3 of those as such. And then we'll get our rock stars. I always call these our Taylor Swifts, so the leading ladies of your bouquet. These beautiful garden roses. And we'll just place them in, just put their heads above their bed so we can see their gorgeous faces as such. I always find if your flowers move down, just keep lifting up their heads. So we've got 3 Taylor Swifts, and then I'll add a few more little spray roses, which are like the backup singers for Tay Tay. The doo-bop girls. A beautiful little pink spray rose. And of course freesias. They just smell heavenly. I love growing freesias. Probably one of my favorite spring flowers to grow. And once you put them in the ground, they'll just keep coming back year after year. They're really low maintenance. You don't have to do anything with them. And then some cute little garden ranuncles. Add a little bit of height. Keep it nice and tall so you can get that movement and that flow through the bouquet, just like you'd see in the garden. See how we're moving there? I always say when you create your bouquet, think of the ocean. You know how you see the beautiful waves and you get that movement and that flow? Same in the garden. Like I try and just keep movement and flow happening in the garden, in my bouquets. And then there's beautiful little sweet peas. That colour, just incredible. And again, we'll put some height into the bouquet here. Get that flow happening. So we can just fill it out with sweet peas. So this year I've got sweet peas growing all up my pear trees as well in the front garden. Up all the roses, and there's a lot growing up the flowering cherries as well. And again, that just saves space. And then come summer, I have all these flowering trees with all these gorgeous sweet peas. And sweet peas are beautiful. They're cut and come again. So you can just snip them and then the flowers will keep coming. And you'll have months and months of beautiful flowers all through the home. I love the flowers where you can just cut and come again. And they're really cheap to grow as well. You just buy a few seeds and then I save the seeds for next year and the year after. So I'm in about my 6th year of growing sweet peas and saving their seeds. It's also my mum's favourite flower, which I absolutely love. So I often will grow flowers for memory and for people I love. So I've got some nice movement and flow happening here. I always say you're as good as the flowers you've got to work with, so you can't go wrong. If I was to make this bouquet again, she would be different again. So I always say when I'm teaching bouquet making, you know, you've got nothing to lose, just try. Every time I do this, it would look different again. These gorgeous Canterbury bells. They're fun to grow and they're a little unruly in the garden. The plant itself is kind of just flows out. It's a little unruly, but they're an extraordinary flower and they'll last at least 3 weeks once you've cut them. They're beautiful colours. Let's pop a little bit through here. So we can see our Tay Tay Swifts. And we've got our backup singers, our little spray roses. Just have a look whose head needs to be poking up. I always find when flowers, you know, so much of it's practice as well. Just practice and practice and practice again. Some little ranuncles. Garden ranuncs are a beautiful flower to grow. You can save their corms, so whenever my ranuncs each year I feed them as they're dying back, and then I bring up the corms every single year and I store them under the stairs, so like away from the rats and the possums and the pests in the shed, and then I bring them out again year after year, and they grow babies as well. So once you have them for life. The sweet peas. Go. Ah, I just want to be a flower. She's beautiful. Add a few more freesias for fragrance. And we've got that movement and that flow. So just as you'd go to a garden and you'd see them growing as Mother Nature intended, that's how I love to make my bouquets. Just natural and flowy. We can add a pop of statice. It's a gorgeous color, this one. Statice is another fantastic drought tolerant plant to grow. Tough as boots, and she comes in 3 or 4 different colors, like a white, a pink, a deep purple, this beautiful lilac color. Watch your hand, you'll probably get like a sore hand. And again, that's just kind of practice. If your hand gets sore, I always say just put your flowers down, have a little break, and then pick them up when you're ready to go again. What my garden means to me, it's an extension of my heart, and for me it represents beauty and joy. And to me, joy is one of the most beautiful things in the world. And if I can give joy to people in some way through my work and my art, then that makes me happy. So I think gardens are a garden of joy, I like to see her as. Thank you, Homeworthy, for coming on the garden tour with me. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.